Are you thinking about moving to Australia? How many points do you need to apply for PR? How easy or how hard it is to get an Australian PR? If those are the questions that you're asking, this video might help you. Hi, I'm Johnny, and in this video I'm going to talk about my personal experience with the Australian Permanent Residency application and share some very important information that I wish I had known before coming to Australia. Hopefully by end of this video, you will have a better understanding of the situation and it may help you with your own application. In December 2019, I was granted the Australian PR under the Skilled Independent Visa Subclass 189. It was the happiest moment of my life because I had poured in all my energy and time over the last 5 years to finally achieve this goal. I would appreciate it if you like this video if you think I deserve it. Over the last 2 years, I had to see many of my friends who shared the same dream leave Australia because they were unable to meet the requirements. A quick disclaimer before I move on further with this video. I'm not a certified migration agent, and the things that I will discuss in this video is based solely on my personal experience and my opinions. For professional advice, please seek help from a certified migration agent. Okay, let's get back to the video. My plan to get Australian PR started in 2014. I decided to quit my job, sell my properties and my car to pursue a different life in Australia. I had it all planned out. First, I would enroll in a computer science bachelor's degree course in my home country Malaysia, study for a year, transfer to Australia to study for another 2 years, get a temporary graduate visa, work as a software engineer for a year, and then finally apply for permanent residency. At that time, the plan seems to be easy and straightforward, at least in my own head, but it's actually harder than I had expected. Before I touch on the difficult part of this process, which is meeting the points requirements of the PR application, I want to quickly share some important context on why I chose to study computer science. I didn't just randomly pick a course to study. I picked a course that I like and at the same time allows me to be eligible to work as a software and applications programmer or software engineer as listed in the medium and long-term strategic skill list after graduation. This list is commonly known as the skilled occupation list. I'll put a link in the description for your reference. Please make sure you pick the right course and occupation that allows you to work and apply for PR. Otherwise, you'll be wasting 3 to 4 years of your life getting a degree and ends up with no PR. Another thing I want to highlight is the requirements to apply for temporary graduate visa subclass 485, post-study stream, which allows international students who have recently graduated with a degree from an Australian institution to live and work in Australia for 2 to 4 years, depending on the level of your study. There is a list of requirements to meet, like having competent level of English, your course must be listed on the pre-course registered courses, and most importantly, the course must be at least 2 academic year long, which translates to about 92 weeks of study over a minimum period of 16 calendar months. This visa is crucial to enable someone to accumulate enough points for the PR application while residing in Australia. Okay, now that we've talked about the easy parts, yes, those were the easy parts. Let's talk about the difficult part of this entire process. The key item to emphasize here is the points needed to get an invitation to apply for PR. I'm not talking about the minimum points eligible to apply for PR as listed on the immigration website, which is 65 points. I'm talking about the actual number of points needed for anyone to be considered getting an invitation to apply for PR, which is currently standing around 95 to 105 points depending on the skill occupation. This information can be found on the Immigration and Borders website, which I will provide a link below. It shows the number of invitations sent out to applicants on a monthly basis, normally on the 11th of every month. Due to COVID-19, the recent minimum points shown on the invitation rounds doesn't really reflect the actual minimum points required for invitation because the Australian government is only giving invitations for occupations in the critical sector. The usual invitation round seems to be affected and there aren't too many invitations being sent out. This may be troublesome for applicants who have sufficient points but their visas are expiring. Looking back at the invitation rounds prior to COVID, the minimum points required for an invitation is around 95 to 105 points depending on the skill occupation. To give an idea of how much the points has increased over the last 18 months, I submitted an expression of interest with 75 points on the 12th of February 2019 and got the invitation to apply for skill independent visa on the 11th of March 2019. Fast forward to April 2020, the minimum score is between 95 to 105 points, a whopping 20 to 30 points increment from just a year ago. In order to give you a better understanding of the point score, I'm going to break down how my score of 75 points is calculated and show you what else do I need to do to get to 95 points. This table shows my points summary. As you can see, I got 30 points for my age, 20 points for having superior English, 15 points for getting a bachelor's degree in computer science in Australia, additional 5 points for meeting the Australian study requirements, and 5 points from working as a software engineer for a year, making a total of 75 points. I'll provide the links in the description below to the points calculator and the points criteria table for you to do some calculations on your own. The remaining 25 points can be very tough depending on your English level and whether you can land a job within the first year of your temporary graduate visa. It took me 4 attempts at the Pearson Test of English (PTE) to get an overall score of 90 with every component speaking, listening, reading and writing above 79 points. This is equivalent to having scores of at least 8 for each of the test components in IELTS. There are also other recognized English tests. I'll put a link in the description below, but generally most people would choose PTE and IELTS. You might be able to nail the test on your first attempt if you're really good. I personally know a person who did the test 13 times to finally get superior English. It can also get quite expensive depending on how many times you do the test. Each test costs around $300. So in total, I have spent around $1,200 on PTE tests alone. I consider landing a job as a fresh international graduate the most difficult part of this process. Many of my international friends who graduated around the same time as me were struggling to land a job and had to leave the country because of that. Most bachelor degree graduates have 2 years on their temporary graduate visa, but the time frame to land a job is within a year, because you would still need to work for a year to gain that extra 5 points and meet some skill assessment criteria. On top of that, some companies prefer to hire Australians or permanent residents because, let's be honest, it isn't a good return of investment for a company to hire someone, train them up, end up letting them go on the possibility that they are unable to get permanent work rights. Fortunately, I was able to land a job right after graduating from university. I consider myself to be extremely lucky, but I also feel that having good GPA grades and some internship experience go a long way in my job hunt. So, those were my real life struggles which I had to endure until I can finally accumulate enough points to submit an expression of interest in February 2019. What if I were to submit an expression of interest now? What other points criteria can I meet to reach 95 points? In November 2019, a new partner skill points criteria was added where applicants who are single or with partner applying for the same visa subclass will get an additional 10 points. That would automatically increase my points to 85 for being single. To make up the remaining 10 points, I would consider doing 2 more things. The first is getting recognized qualification in credential community language. In layman terms, it means passing the certified translator and interpreter test or the credential community test, CCL, provided by NATI. The second thing that I would do to meet the points criteria is completing a professional year course in Australia. Completing PY isn't very hard, but it's a waste of time and money. The course generally costs between $8,000 to $15,000 and it takes up to 12 months to complete it. Typically, PY students have to attend classes for the first 9 months about boring stuff like how to write a resume, work ethics, collaboration, blah blah blah. And it ends with a 3 months unpaid placement program. Finally, this would get me 95 points to lodge an EOI. There are some points criteria that you can achieve, like study in regional Australia and completing a PhD doctorate degree. I wouldn't consider doing any of them unless I have absolutely no choice, because they are a hassle and cost more money and time. I've shared pretty much everything I know about the PR application. Although it seems hard, I believe that it's still achievable as long as you put your heart and soul into it. The satisfaction that I felt after finally getting my PR grant was 100% worth the effort that I've put in over the years. With that said, I will end my video here. If you're still here, I wish you best of luck in your own PR application. If you find this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by March 2021. Thank you and see you in the next one.